Alright, it's finally here. We are doing the Assassin class guide for Ulala. Now, this might be my favorite DPS class, even though I don't play DPS. And that's probably because I've had the pleasure of messing with all these legendary skills. So first off, shoutouts to Cam for letting me use his account for the video. He's actually on my team as well, on my Gladiators team. So I'm very familiar with the build and everything. So even though I don't play an assassin, I think I'm going. This is might be one of my most informational videos. So hope you guys enjoy that. So as usual, we're gonna go through with an overview. If you're looking at picking a DPS character and you want to play a melee character, assassin is your only option. Gladiator is not a melee DPS. It is strictly a tank. I think some people get that confused. So melee DPS is the assassin. The pros to that is that he can kind of help tank sometimes. They definitely can take more damage than say a warlock or a mage can. So being in the front line can help with some bosses. The downside to that is certain bosses hit the back line and specifically hit one random person in the back line. In cases like that, it actually is not good to have an assassin because you're not spreading out the damage as much. So it's a little bit rougher on your healer. But there's a lot of pros, like the fact that they get 2 stuns pretty early on. They can rotate through their stuns very quickly. That's actually one of the biggest pros to playing an assassin, is that if you have trouble stunning the bosses before they're able to cast their skill, the assassin has the fastest attack speed at the game. With one attack every 1.3 seconds, they're able to cycle through their skills faster, allowing them to stun more often. We'll talk about what the stuns are later. Another pro about the assassin is they have a dot damage build, and they have a like direct damage. So those are two different play styles for them, similar to the warlock where they have a dot damage skill, and that's why I think they pair well together. But their AOE is kind of lackluster. That's expected from an assassin, right? Yeah, that's about it. They're a really fun class to play. They have a lot of options, so I can't wait to do this review. We'll start with the attributes. So attributes are, yep, super simple. You are full damage. You go everything into agility to get as much attack as you can. And then after that, you go the rest of it into tech, and that's because you want as much crit as you can. Assist and symbiosis are the two talents that you get. Assist is very important. Basically means you're getting more attack from your pet. But this is pretty simple. I'm not going to argue. I don't think there's a case for any other build. So if you're an assassin, 3 points into agility, 0 points into stamina, 2 points into tech. Alright. That was really fast. Attributes are always really fast. I will mention this. I forgot to do it in all my other videos, so I will probably have to come up with a new video. But for the assassin one, since it's one of my last ones and I remembered, I do want to talk about temper. So the temper build that you're going to want to go for is attack is priority. You want to make sure you get attack on every single one of your temper slots. So you unlock the temper slots over time, like at level 39, 49, and 59 as the last slot there. And you can only have one unique stat per slot, so you can't have 3 attack, right? So I would definitely recommend, if you have a very strong tank, you probably don't need HP as your third, but your first two have to be attack and crit. They're the two most important stats. So if you're able and you don't ever have to tank because your tank dies, then the next best option is going to be Impale. Impale is an okay stat. It lowers the chance of it being blocked. It increases your crit damage. That's the biggest thing. Increasing your crit damage is great because you have pretty good crit rate. We're at level 62 and we already have 24% crit rate. This is only going to go up. So that would be my next suggestion. If you can't get Impale, its evasion is great. HP is probably the next best one. Uh, so that was Temper. I just want to do that very quickly. After that, we're going to get into the pets. So pets are actually really simple. Uh, you're going to want high attack pets. Assist is pretty good too. Remember, a talent helps with assist. So assist and attacker are the two best pets for an assassin. It really depends which one you get at legendary. The difference between legendary and the other pets, like rarity tiers, are really high. So you almost, if you say you get one of the legendary pet and it's an assist one, but you have a epic attack pet, just go with the assist one, and vice versa is the same. If you have an assist epic pet, but you have a legendary attack pet, then go with the legendary, the attack one. Also, like I mentioned, DPS, it's very important to have an elemental advantage, less so than the tank or the healer. And the reason for that is it just helps with damage. It helps you kill the boss. And the reason I do say that DPS have to probably spend more money than a tank or a healer is if they want to be like top. Obviously, there's going to be strong free-to-play DPS players too. Is that there's a requirement to have a lot of pets. One for each element. They have to be attack. You can't really use a guardian pet, attack or assist. So that can get expensive if you're not lucky. Let's go into pet skills. Pet skills are very simple. Very simple. Inspire. Inspire, you need this ability. Inspire gives you right now at level 5, it's giving him 67% attack of assist. So it's based on your pet, right? This is super strong. I can't even like argue for anything else with how good Inspire is. So there you go, get it. If for whatever reason it just does not drop for you, or you have no way to buy it, then as a DPS, you just have to go with like something easier to get, like Smash, or Rend. That's about it. Let's go into passives. So photosynthesis is really good. I recommend it for every class. The reason is photosynthesis gives you gives your energy, your pet more energy, meaning they can cast Inspire again. The fact that Inspire is so OP makes this passive even better. It just gets that off more often. As a secondary especially for the assassin, Fury, it's not great, but probably Firm Heart. Where is Firm Heart? There it is. Firm Heart would be the next best option. Oh, did I confuse Firm Heart with Competitive Heart? Yes, I did. Sorry, Competitive Heart. So let's go ahead and talk about skills. And this is like the main part of the video. The video will mostly consist of me talking about the skills. This is my favorite build in the entire game. Like, I've messed with all the classes except for Hunter. And this is by far my favorite build. The reason is it just pairs so well with my Gladiator and my Warrior. if I cast Let's Charge, it will cast after Cloak of Bush, which is fine because Cloak of Bush doesn't need attack, but before Poison Coat. All this means is like the poison is going to stack and get really strong. So in this case, you're going to get a ton of damage from the poison dot on the enemy, and then when that enemy dies, if there's like, say it's the tiger bosses, where there's 2 of them, it's going to move that poison off onto the next boss, and you're just going to keep that damage going really strong. So Cloak of Bush is not only good at raising your attack by 74%, which is insane. It only costs 2, so it gets cast very like often, and it lets you rotate your other better skills. But also, this happens a lot. I'll die as the tank. That happens way too much. But the assassin will be the next in line to tank. And with Cloak of Bush up, he can actually tank for a long time. Like especially basic attacks. Basic attacks are no problem for the assassin. It's when the boss casts a skill that he'll usually die. But Cloak of Bush lets him survive a skill, usually one skill. So it's really good. Although I wouldn't recommend it as your first legendary. Now Poison Co, you're able to stack up to 15 poisons, and then the combo with Shivs allows you to reapply the poisons so that they don't like kind of run out. With this build that you're looking at right now, the poisons never fall off due to duration, even if you get stunned or frozen. So the poison applies bonus poison affecting enemy. Each layer of poison causes 4.2% of your attack per second for 12 seconds, right? So the reason you want to use Cloak of Bush before this and Let's Charge before this is because you get 74% extra attack and then 23% extra attack from Let's Charge. And then now 4.2% of your attack from the poison is a lot of attack. And even though the buffs run out, your poison is still on that same attack value. It's really strong. Scatterblade is... Oh, I'm sorry. I keep saying... The Scatterblade is specifically for this boss. What you're actually going to want to use is a Fishbone Throwing Knife. Because it does more damage if they are poisoned. And it increases the damage by a lot. I've seen... If this crits, it does a lot of damage. You just gotta really hope it throws 3. Because you can get unlucky. But that's alright. In this game... Skills with high variance tend to be better than consistent skills. The reason for that is you can spam as many battles as you want with no like cost, right? So because of that, skills that have high like luck, high chance to do a lot of damage, tend to be better than the ones that are like averagely middle, right? Because you're just gonna keep spamming until you get lucky enough where every single time you get them to throw 3 throwing knives, or yeah. Lastly, we're going to go with Shiv. This just resets the effectiveness, and it's decent damage too. But you're really using it to keep the poison stacks up. So say you're not using a poison build. The only times I'm not using the poison build is for AoE. And AoE is tricky because... by the way, I should mention this. With a poison build, you can't put a 4 cost skill here. It usually always has to be a 3 cost. So with AoE, you're going to go... That won't be first, though. You're going to go this. You're going to go... this down here. I'm gonna pick them first, and then we will... Where are you? There you go. Gain combo. And then double throwing knives. Great ability. So, your AoE will vary by 1 skill. So you're almost always going to throw Fan of Knives, then Fatal Knife. The reason for that is Fan of Knives puts you in combo, which allows your Fatal... And it still does AoE damage. And then your Fatal Knife is going to do extra damage if you're in combo state, which is a good combo. Very funny. And 3 targets is usually what a boss has. There's only a couple cases where a boss has more than 3 enemies. Then double throwing knives is actually going to do most of your damage, or a lot of your damage, because it does a flat 200%. And then bounce. Sorry, this is the one I want to talk about. This can do a lot of damage if there's like those ankylosaurs with like the 4 things in the back, because it'll bounce between each one of them. I don't always get to use bounce because there's not always 3 people, or sometimes there's only 3 people. In cases like that, I actually Swift Wind Daggers tends to be a little bit better, I think, because I just noticed it's a little bit better. And the main reason is because the bounce only hits 1 time per enemy. Even though this will hit more than 1 time. But the downside is it does less damage the second time. But it's not enough less for it to not be worth it. So, see, 25%. So this is my AoE build. Now let's go into the early game. I should have mentioned this first, but there's an early game build that almost everyone uses. Reverberating Slam is super strong. We're gonna put that in there, and it's the first skill you get, I think. Rupture, we're gonna put that. Backstab, we're gonna put this in here. And this one really doesn't matter, but a lot of time I'll just see people early on. You need a lot of interrupts. So if it's not pounce, oh, let's just put pounce. So this is the build that you're gonna run early game. You're gonna start with rupture, then you're gonna go to pounce, then you're gonna go to backstab, and then you're gonna go to reverberating slam. The reason for this is because rupture is one of the highest energy per or damage per energy cost skills in the game because it's a bleed. Bleeds tend to just do more damage. It also gives you 3 technique points, which is a lot. And then pounce, it's just okay damage, but you're really using it for the technique points. So you get 2 from pounce, 3 from rupture. That's 5 technique points. Then you're gonna hit backstab, which is gonna spend all your technique points to do 5 backstabs. It's going to spawn something in the back of the enemy. It's going to hit it 5 times in a row for 100. So now you're looking at another 550% damage from a 3 cost skill, which is really good value. Rupture does the same over time for a 4 cost skill. So now you can see why this is so good. And then reverberating slam it's really good energy like a damage per energy cost skill. I did the math, so if you're ever interested in that, private message me. I'll send you the math for all the assassin skills. Right now you'll see it has a little up icon, and if the enemy has 1 or more layer of poison dealing a bonus 2% of damage, this doesn't apply until way later. This is like the evolution to this skill, and early game you probably won't even use this that much. Alright, those are my builds. There are a lot of times where I'll end up having to use ambush and roundhouse. Where's roundhouse? The kick. There we go. Ambush, roundhouse, and if I have to use both of those, then I'm almost always just using reverberating slam and something. It depends on the fight, but maybe lacerations. So it'll look more like this, where I'll cast maybe an instant lacerations. I'm just trying to cycle through skills really fast, right? So that's why I don't have any 4. Maybe I'll put pounce. Basically, you're just trying to get through the skills as fast as you can so you can keep stunning people. And you'll use this build often, but I can't really recommend an order for you. So those are my builds for the assassin. That's the longest part of the video, guys. I think they're really fun because they have so many good skills. But I did say I was going to do Clatter Build, so I'll go over it real quickly. But early game, this is what you want to... He's actually running what I would run early game. And that is Sharp Claw. Sharp Claw gives you 30% attack and 30% HP. And then you want to make sure to pair that with 20% extra from plane. So now you're at 50% extra attack with only 4 cards. And then your 5th card, you almost always want Mountain Range. This is a flat 5% attack bonus. This is the best early game build, in my opinion, for all DPS. I didn't say end game. I have a different end game build. And if you want to see the late game build that I've come up with, which I actually came up with it and realized everyone's running that, there's not too much variation in the late game, in my opinion. Then check out I'm going to put a link in the description. So that's it for Clatter Build. This might have been actually my favorite one to review because I've messed around with the build so many times. So I'm glad we finally got it done. But thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure to join the Discord. We're having a giveaway to anyone who joins the Discord and signs up. It's a $25 gift card to Google Play. So check that out. And get ready for clans. It's going to be fun. See you later.